definitely a title that I'm appreciating and liking. Definitely got me interested. Pretty cool poster to go along with it. So lots of different reasons to kind of be interested in this one, but did it end up being any good? Let's find out, but let's start with the IMDb plot. College student Deena visits home and is roped into babysitting. The local sheriff is mailed a piece of evidence and is led on a scavenger hunt to reveal the killer of another babysitter. All right, different couple of different things happening there. So this is a fairly new one as well. Been out for a little bit now on Shudder and so forth. So we'll try to keep this spoiler free. Definitely twists and turns in this one. So I will try to be very careful with what I say and what I talk about here. Because if I ruin it, then yeah, there's probably no reason for you to watch it. So yeah, I will also say this movie is done by Brandon Christensen, who I really enjoyed most of his movies, and some of them have ended up here on Shudder. So I definitely suggest, if you have watched this one and you do like it, hit his name on IMDb and maybe check back with some of his other films. You might find a couple to enjoy there as well. So as far as this one, like I said, I'll try to be very careful because there is twists and turns, and I will say that I watched it the first time, and once you see get to a certain point and some of those twists are unturned, I had that feeling. I'm like, this is one of those ones I missed something. I missed something along the lines. I may need to go back and watch this one. So I will say I did go back and watch this the second time, and definitely some of those twists and turns made a whole lot of sense. I don't know if I wasn't paying close enough attention, but definitely it made more sense the second time. So I don't know if you catch everything the first time or not. But I guess that was my experience with this one. It definitely makes it more interesting. Sometimes you watch, and when you have a movie with a lot of twists at the end, you're like, nah, it didn't happen, or that couldn't have been, or whatever. And then you go back, you watch it, and you go, oh yeah, okay, you get a little bit better appreciation for some of the things, especially some of the minor things in it. Whether that means you would have figured out exactly what was happening here, I don't know. But yeah, again, I think, you needed some twists and turns in this kind of movie, because we've seen, many a horror movie with the babysitter, things go wrong in any different ways. Sometimes it's the babysitter, sometimes it's the people that own the house, sometimes, it's as simple as, whatever's coming to the house, that is the trick here. So, lots of different things and so forth. We've seen this kind of setup before. So, what's going to make this unique? What's going to make this different? Can they pull it off or not? And that's a big thing in it. Obviously, for some reason, horror fans seem to like the whole babysitter kind of thing. I don't know if it brings them back to their childhood, or even, earlier in watching a lot of horror movies with babysitters. I don't know. But it seems to be a good theme to go back to. So anyway, obviously it opens up, the movie opens up with a scene of a babysitter, and things don't go right for this babysitter, and that kind of sets things up. We might be in a little bit of a smaller town now. We're a little time later, and now we have another young woman who's come back home to this town, and she goes and visits a friend, and is having a conversation, doing the catch-up thing there. And her friend, they wanted to go out and have some fun, but her friend tells her no, that she actually has to babysit for the sheriff's kid. So she can't really tonight, but maybe sometime in the future. Not too long after, the friend apparently becomes sick and just can't make the babysitting thing. So she calls her up and says, hey, can you do the babysitting job for me? I can't make it You'd be really helping me out. And at first she's like, no, I don't really want to do it. But then, of course, obviously she does. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a movie or whatever. Unless there was another babysitter around, we could have gotten in contact with. I don't know. So, of course, she goes to be the babysitter of choice here in this movie. On the other end of it, we're actually following the sheriff. And he, his wife has been killed and whatever, and that's something that he's trying to still deal with, but he's also had the unsolved case of this girl that previously died, the babysitter who died before. So we kind of get introduced to him, and as we do, he starts receiving like these weird clues, a couple of boxes and so forth, kind of pointing him in a certain direction. So as he's trying to kind of put the pieces together, he gets one of his deputies there as well to kind of get involved and kind of try to figure out, what is going on here, how this ties in with the babysitter who died before. And if I'm not mistaken, there might have been, some other people that died. So, he starts bringing in a suspect or two, starts going on the investigation as well. So, that on one end you have that going on, and then the other end you have the night where this girl is going to do the babysitting. She goes, she's there. We do the typical babysitting thing, and so forth, and then things start playing out very similar to how we saw the first babysitter and how she died. So we know that here we go again, and obviously, eventually, whatever's happening here to this babysitter is going to happen, is going to, come to light. And then, obviously, the sheriff is going to get further and further into his investigation. And, how those two events, play out and how they're combined, we'll see. Like I said, there are twists and turns here, so I don't want to say much more about that. Hopefully I didn't go too far, but, I think that that's pretty much, most of that is kind of given. So, speaking of the twist and how it goes without being the specific of it, I thought it was good, and how that kind of played out. Like I said, it is, the big twist, and then, maybe there's, some smaller twists in it. Definitely what I watched it the second time, obviously, because I knew what was going to happen. But once you see some of those clues, then it's a little bit more obvious. I don't know, you guys watching in the first time, if it was that obvious or not. Apparently, like I said, I don't know if I was paying close enough attention or not to kind of figure it out. But I still think it was a good watch and put a lot of good drama into it, and suspense, once, things, go wrong, for this babysitter. Is it anything, totally, way out there, maybe not expected and so forth, whatever? Probably not, but still made for a good story and a good twist. Have we done that in a babysitter horror movie or not? I'm not sure. To think of every babysitter horror movie that there's been, I'm not sure. But I still think it fit this story, made for a good movie and so forth. I think, they did good, and I'm not going to say maybe jump scares, but, kind of bringing that creepiness and bringing the scare of the babysitter, especially with the first one, and the intensity of that, is a big part of it. And then I think, maybe on the sheriff's end, maybe there is a little bit more predictable, with what was going on there. So, I thought, as far as the acting in the movie, movie was okay. I remember, one of the previous movies Brandon did, was Superhost, and the girl who played the Superhost in that movie was freaking awesome. But the acting in this one was still solid. Nothing to kind of ruin anything that was going on here. But yeah, I think on the sheriff's end, I don't know that there's anything completely out of bounds or whatever. The main stuff is obviously about the babysitter, and that's really where what's happening in that house is really the key to everything. So, yeah, without getting into specifics about the twist or whatever, I still thought it was good, and definitely when you watch it the second time, you can kind of see what's there, and it makes complete sense. Obviously, it helps when you know what's going on. But I really wish I would maybe was paying a slight more attention so I could say, in an honest view of watching it the first time, of whether I was really totally shocked by what happened or not. I don't know. I guess that's something that you guys will have to figure out if you have not watched it yet. Obviously, if you have and you're still watching this review, I'd be very curious to see if you kind of figured out what was going on, prior to when it becomes obvious what's going on. But yeah, I would say, I still an enjoyable watch. Again, and I think if you like babysitter type movies, which a lot of horror fans seem to do, I don't see why you wouldn't watch this one. I think I saw a decent amount of positive reviews for it, so I definitely encourage you to watch it. With that, I think I'm going to give this one 3.5 pools of blood. Watch it a second time, and you catch the clues. It's fun to watch that. Some people I know don't want to watch it once they know. I know, figure out the twist and whatever. There's I already know what's happening. There's no point. But sometimes in a movie like that, it is good to go back and try to find those clues, especially when either you're not paying attention or you totally miss it, which I've done both times on both occasions. So yeah, I'm going to give it 3.5 pools of blood. Enjoyed it and had no problems with the twist. Again, I don't think that it blows anything out of the water being, totally, unique and out there and something we've never have seen before, but still made for a fun, good watch. Obviously, not huge in the blood and guts here and so forth in this one, but still may have had a moment or two. So, again, 3.5 pools of blood out of 5 for this one. And with that, horrorsquarereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written and videos, certainly tons of video reviews for a while now. So you can like and subscribe and do everything else that everybody wants to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries, it is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook, information down below. Like and follow there and talk horror, talk about this one. Other movies you want something reviewed, let me know. And in the comment section as well, did you enjoy this one or you want me to review something? Feel free if you want to reach out there. So with that, I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.